It started off with one case in one city in China, and now there are more than 13 million cases around the globe. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a profound impact on the way we lead our lives, and we don't know how long this will last. Welcome to the third and final episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla. In this series, I interviewed 21 different people of different ages, nationalities, genders, in an effort to understand how did this pandemic affect us in a similar or different manner. My discussions focused on communication and connectivity during this time because our ability to communicate and connect to others was greatly altered during this period. In this episode, you will witness 7 unique perspectives on this pandemic. These 7 perspectives come from a wide variety of ages and nationalities. So without further ado, let's get right into the last episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla.
Well, we've been together for quite some time, so for us it was not a big change in that sense. One thing that we kept doing is the exercising.
That's good.
And we transformed our balcony in a mini academy. And we kept, our routine of exercise. And we realized that that was very, very important for us, for our health, for us to manage, these difficult times of not being able to go anywhere, if you will. And as I am in Miami, we go out for walks and so on and so forth, so that helped. Listen, like I said, I've been working from home for almost 3.5 years now. So for me, it's not a routine that changed that much. Honestly, the fact that I don't have to commute to talk to my clients or for meetings, I see it as a great advantage because it's time saving. And, you can produce much more. I've been way much more productive, if you will, right? Because we save time in a lot of stuff. We save money because you don't have to have lunches or coffees. I mean, in a way, I see it, the fact that we all had to go virtual in a very positive manner as a consequence of the quarantine. I reconnected with my family. I'm from Brazil, that I haven't seen for 30 years. I took the time and I was driven by the moment. I think this moment has been terrible in a way. And I was like, it's time to reconnect. And I'm having a wonderful time. That's been for months now. And we are so happy. They live in a very remote side of Brazil. But and I'm so glad that we have the technology to help us with this. But the answer is yes. Not only continue the relationships, the existing, but going back to all the new ones. That's a great question. I think the first thing is how we, as human beings, we are fragile. It's about the human being's fragility. Because if you think that we are facing an invisible enemy, right? We cannot even see unless you have the microscope. And look at the devastation. And when I say this, to be honest with you, I get even a little bit emotional because we as human beings, we don't stop to think about this way. We keep going with our lives and, always thinking of what's coming next, blah, 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 blah. My hope is that all human beings, the humanity, really stop and spend time reflecting why did that happen? Because I believe there is a reason that is much bigger than what we can see. So I guess this was a major thing that I've learned. Obviously, there is a lot of learning in terms of patience, tolerance, because again, it goes back to what you can control. And if you get yourself, without control, that is not going to help at all. Yes. So I think these 3. But the first one is we are very fragile, so pay attention, because we are not what we think we are as human beings. So, but in a positive manner, constructive. So.
So yeah, we've been doing a lot of cooking, and I like to sometimes do a bit of gardening with my granddad and grandmom,
Mhm.
but very occasionally, I'll be honest about that.
Yeah.
And me, my dad, and my little brother, we play carom a lot. We at least spend an hour with each other playing carom. So it's a lot of fun. It's competitive and it's fun.
Nice.
It is important to me, but I'll again be frank here. Sometimes it just feels so. It, I mean, it doesn't anymore, but it used to feel so bleak during this whole lockdown period because nobody really had anything to talk about. Nothing was going on in the world. There was, because we as teenagers we don't have um, like a lot of, I would say, meaningful discussions with our friends. We like to talk about music. We like to talk about art. We like to talk about TV shows. We like to talk about, casual stuff.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot going on, and the conversations become monotonous. Um, so yeah, it was a bit difficult to, strike a conversation and, you know, get people to relate to what you're saying and the whole,
Yes.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been staying connected. That's a good question. Um, One thing that will stick with me for the rest of my life, and that will always, make me a better person, is that everything in our life, everything that we think is going to make us happy, it probably won't, because everything is so fickle around us. We think, oh my god, if I do this, that'll make me happy. But the fact is that it's the basic things in life that make you happy. It's family, it's good food, it's staying positively connected with the people you care about, and all of this that really matters, rather than going to that concert or blah blah blah. You get what I mean.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to accept at first. It's like, oh my God, I've worked for the past like 14 years, and that's just been taken away. But then you realize it's not the end of the world if we have the opportunity that the CDC guidelines go away. Our school is like, hey, maybe we could actually do a real graduation.
Mm.
But I mean, overall, school kind of relaxed. They actually didn't accept our final grades. Our grades actually ended of March 12th.
No.
So if your grade went below that in March 12th, they didn't accept it.
No.
So whatever you had in March 12th kind of became like a savior for us. So you could basically not do any homework, but as an Indian, you know how the Indian grind goes. So we had to finish up our classes. The AP exams were really, really weird this year. We're taking them online, and with such short time limits, it was very weird. But other than that, things have been always mostly normal, and just try to maintain what we can do. Yeah, staying connected is pretty important to me. Like the people I have grown up with are people that I've known since preschool, and we've always been maintained together. A lot of my friends that I left at Woodward Academy when I moved to Alpharetta. So a lot of us always stay in contact, even though we don't go to the same school. So connection was something that's always been important to me, and I always like to stay connected with people just to know, like, hey, what's going on with you, and just try to be out there for people who need it, or just have friends, whatever, and just be able to interact with people whenever I can, because otherwise you get pretty bored pretty fast.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the main thing that I learned was actually a quote that my teacher said. It was like, nothing in life is always guaranteed, and there could always be like a curveball thrown at you, and you have to learn to adjust to it. Otherwise, you may be left behind. So it's important for us to adapt to the situation at hand and always not just look at it in a negative way, but also find the positives in it. Like, yes, I did miss my senior year and my graduation, but at the same time, I got to spend more time with my friends and family and get to do more with what I have right now and do stuff that I wouldn't have been able to if we didn't get to stay at home, which is something that I really appreciate and accept now.
Yes, friends for my wife and I are very, very important.
Mm.
And so, even if we had a containment and a strict containment, for us it wasn't possible not to stay connected with our friends. So obviously we discovered the aperitif, the Skype aperitif, the Zoom aperitif, and it was quite convenient. Even if, from my point of view, it is a bit of frustration not to see and not to be able to touch our friends. But it was a minimum to maintain this. And as well, me personally, I was used to using a lot phone to contact my friends. So I didn't lose, in fact, this habit. But during the containment, I mixed between the phone and the Skype or Zoom session. I think obviously it wasn't a shock to be with them all the time, but I am not disappointed because with my wife I did the right choice. Unfortunately, it is a chance. It is a chance, definitely, because when we look at what happened in China, they had a lot of divorces.
Yes.
For instance, after the containment,
I've seen that.
and in France, I think it will be exactly the same thing. In Europe, all over the world, I think it will be the same thing. So in our family, really, it was the harmony was there. The harmony was there. Obviously, sometimes with the different habits, with the different. We had maybe one or two tough discussions, but it is totally normal, and it is not the reason why we should be worried about this. But globally, it was really very positive, a lot of happiness. Obviously, with my daughter, specific situation sometimes because sometimes she was quite nervous. But it is her disability is very related to nervosity. So, but we managed the situation. And I think at the end of the day, what it was very, very positive, when we had the opportunity to go back outside. In fact, we noticed that we were very, very close together within our flat. A sort of fear to discover again or to rediscover the real world. So it was the evidence that we were very well together and very, very close together. And as well, the fact to have written my book, to have written my, it was the evidence for me that they were my key people around me, and it was. I think it would be for my family a great present and a great souvenir of the containment. It was key. It was key because, but in fact, it is not due to the COVID. This, for me, the connection is just key. And the connection, the loyalty, the fidelity, it is key in life, in fact. So these human values, for me, are very natural. And so maybe a lot of people discovered this with the pandemic, and it is a good thing they discovered this. And I hope they will conserve this need of humanity, in fact. But for me, it wasn't a surprise. And pandemic gave us, to all of us, this opportunity really to be creative, to be innovative, to be on being responsible. Because when you have a family, You are responsible, fully responsible. You have a wife, you have children, you have parents, you have a sort of ecosystem around you, and so you need to be innovative, creative, but not doing whatever you want to do. You need to be very, very responsible. And so this period was key. And from a professional, from a personal point of view, agility. And now I am very, very capable of putting words on agility. So it was a rich period, very, very, very rich period.
We've been watching a lot of movies, movie nights have increased from like once a week to like 4 times a week because there's like just nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then, my parents have been helping me out with some other stuff as well. I've been trying to learn some things like baking and, just passing time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been pretty fun. What I miss about school was definitely the homies. You're sitting in a class, you're sitting online, you see the same faces in front of you, but the interaction's not the same. Because even if you make like one sound, the teacher's going to hear you. It's just a different environment. The education is happening, so I can't complain about the education because the teachers are taking time out of their days to teach us, and it's going pretty well. But the problem is, just the human interaction. I miss the homies. Is what I'm going to say.
I didn't understand how important it was in life to go and meet people. When you're in school and when you have all these things on you, you're like, damn, I wish I had this time, where I was a recluse, where I didn't have to come out of my room. That's the dream, that I can just sit on my bed for like months and just watch Netflix. Because that's the fantasy. But now that we have it, it's kind of ironic how we don't want to have this. Like, this is what we wanted to have when we didn't have this, but now that we have it, we're like, nah, the previous portion was better.
Sure. So I start my day with a bit of exercise whenever I can catch in, and I'm lucky on those days. Sometimes you're just not in the groove, you don't have that vibe, so be it. I don't kill myself these days. Earlier I used to be a little crazy about it. But even if I can get some exercise 3-4 days a week, I'm perfectly fine. And after that, of course, the usual summit of household work, etc. You get ready for work. 8:30, about 8:30, your work kicks in. You start for your day, and then it goes on. If you have late evening calls, then of course the days are longer. But we look forward to finishing our days and just catching up with each other after that.
That's
I had worked in one of my previous organizations. I worked from home in my global role for about a year and a half. So I settled right back in. It didn't feel like anything different. In fact, on the contrary, I really enjoy working from home. Gives you far more time at home, different things to do. I've managed to, write another short story. I'm working on some more. So all the time that I spent in commute, I'm trying to make use of that.
That's
You do miss sometimes that face-to-face connect in the office. But you've been in international organizations or MNCs where you do interact with people and work with them very closely, despite the differences of the time zone and geographies. So I think we just found a way to make that work. A few things, Raghav. One is that life is short. Right, so of course we all know this. It sounds very preachy, it sounds very cliche, but of course living life as it comes and enjoying every day of your life rather than postponing your happiness to tomorrow. A lot of times we do that. We get caught up in the work, and the family gets relegated to the back end. Your personal hobbies, things that you love to do, we don't spend enough time there. So that is really important, and I think it's re-emphasize the fact that we must continue to do that. The second is taking care of ourselves, our health. That is important as well, because of course, if the immunity is high and we are able to bounce back faster. It just helps us go a longer way. And of course, relationships are important. You realize who really cares for you. You realize how many people have been around you and who help you out. And of course, lastly, it's don't sweat, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So.
I think I've gotten used to a certain schedule, of like seeing everyone, just like having time to connect. Like beforehand, like my little sister would go to middle school, so she'd have a bus before I even woke up, so I wouldn't be used to seeing her until like way later in the day, like having my parents go to work every day, I'd get used to like having that schedule.
Yeah.
Now in close quarters with everyone, it's kind of nice. Of course it gets hectic at some points, with like noise and everyone going at each other.
Yeah.
But it's been nice to just kind of like be around each other and try to unite as much as we can.
That's
E-learning for me, I've heard different responses from people, but I feel like it was fairly easy for me. They offered, at least for Stevenson, as you know, they offered a lot of remediation opportunity at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it was really just if you had a good grade already, you were basically fine. And I mean, I had a couple classes where I had to like catch up at the end of the year, but of course, like that was relatively easy when they offered so many opportunities to grow.
Yeah.
I think the value of community is something that's often overlooked. And I think like when you look at your inner circle, like your own personal life, and then you look at the news and see like all the work people are doing for one another, I think that shows like the world isn't all that bad.
Definitely.
That when there's an issue, we know that there are good people willing to step up. And I think that's important. Like my family, we recently got boxes and we're going to fill them with food and deliver them to our church community so they can like spread that out, and just like trying to be involved in the community and trying to help others out. I think that's something that I've learned is truly important during this pandemic.
And with that, I would like to conclude the third and final episode of COVID-19 Chats with Raghav Khosla. I hope you enjoyed this video and were able to take something away from it. To show your support, please leave a like down below. And if you're willing to share anything you learned from it, or any feedback you have for me, please leave in the comments as well. Lastly, this won't be the end of videos on this channel. Moving forward, I'll be posting a wide variety of content, whether it be sports videos or videos similar to this. So I recommend you subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you know when my next video comes out. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this series and took something away from it. I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for your time.